Order. This is a special call meeting, meaning that we will only be able to discuss and take action on items that are actually on the agenda. I want to ask Magistrate Nathaniel Downey if he would lead us in a word of prayer, and then we'll follow that with the pledge to the flag.
As we bow our heads, Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for last night's laying down and this early morning rising, Lord God. Lord God, please continue to bless all of our students that's graduating, Lord, and the ones that have already graduated, as they close that chapter in their life and start another chapter, Lord. Lord, Heavenly Father, please continue to bless all the elected officials, city and county, from the national level all the way down to the state level, Lord, and continue us to be able to make the rightful decisions for our community at whole, Lord. And please, Lord, continue to bless our first responders, our health personnel, Lord, here in the county and all across the state, Lord, and continue to bless this fiscal court here, Lord, and please continue to give us just the mind frame and the ability to make the right decision that we have to make for our community as a whole. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, pursuant to KRS 42.455 and KRS 174.100, I will officially open a public hearing as advertised for the county road aid and local government economic assistance for public comment regarding the use of these restricted funds. The projection of the county road aid funds from the motor fuels tax for fiscal year 22-23 is $882,553 and $290,450 from the local government economic assistance funds, which are taxes that are levied on minerals mined in our county, which is mostly crushed stone. So we're now open for any public comment. I can't hear real well this morning, but I'm not hearing anything. With there being no public comment, we will now close that public hearing and move into regular business. Gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our May 3rd regular fiscal court meeting, I need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty and a second by Scott. If I get these, I'm serious, I'm having trouble hearing this morning. So, second by Myron. Chandler and Thurman, yes. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, today we have District 3 engineers with us. They're here to present the fiscal year 22-23 Rural Secondary Road Program. We have Mr. Joe Plunk, Mr. Justin Young. They'll wave as I say your names, Mr. Justin Young and Mr. Casey Pettigo. And Joe looks like he's getting us kicked off here.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before the fiscal court, Chair Barnes, members of the court. Just a reminder, the purpose of us being here is based on KRS 177.330, which requires the Department of Highways to notify each county fiscal court annually on our intent to construct, reconstruct, or maintain our rural and secondary roads. So this is our annual report. You recognize that we come every spring at this time once the budget is known. As you've mentioned, I have some guests with me. Justin Young is our branch manager who covers all of our construction and maintenance activities for District 3. Casey Pettigo is our maintenance engineer located in Scottsville. He covers maintenance responsibilities for several counties, including Simpson. So thank you again for letting us speak. You have the handout that Casey provided. I'll start there and then we'll open it up to any Q&A as well as other status of projects that may be on your mind. So at the top of the sheet, you'll see the projected allotment for the upcoming fiscal year, which begins on July 1st, $903,972. There was a carryover from last fiscal year of $157,401. Total funds available then, $1,061,373. And by the way, there's a map on the back if you need to reference the projects that we'll go over. Item number 1 is our routine maintenance in traffic on the 95 miles of rural secondary roads in Simpson County. So just to be clear, everyone understands, I like to educate when I have the opportunity. We have different classifications of roads. So we have primary roads. That would be your primary routes like the interstates, parkways, US 31W, Highway 100. But there are also rural secondary roads. These are the lower volume roads that serve all the citizens of Simpson County. By law, those roads are funded differently, and that's to ensure that we don't spend all of our money on the primary roads. So there's an allotment of funds that go to the rural secondary routes. In Simpson County, that's 95 miles of those routes. 42% right off the top, that's for our ability to maintain. So when we have ditching, when we have shouldering, when Casey and the crew is out working, putting up signs, whatever it is, that allotment goes just for the routine maintenance for the year, $379,700. Item number 2, county judge expenses, $3,875. Now, this doesn't go directly to the judge. This is for more administrative purposes. This is so the judge and his office can administer flex funds and whatever else you work with rural municipal aid. That's an increase from last fiscal year, by the way. I'm going to jump down to item number 5, flex funds. So that also comes right off the top of that allotment. 20% of the allotment for the year goes directly to flex funds, and that's $180,794. Carryover from last year of $4,098 for a total of $184,892. Those funds are designated to go directly to the fiscal court. Obviously, if you have other state-maintained rural secondary roads that you would like to designate for us to work on, we'll be happy to do that. But typically, the fiscal court uses those funds for their own county-maintained roads. But you can let us know what your decision is. The final 2 items are the projects that are designated by Justin and Casey. They've ranked these roads throughout the county, and you can reference those on the map on the back. Item number 3 is the first project. It's to repair drainage, fix base failures, and place 1 inch of asphalt on 2.5 miles of Highway 103, Middleton Road, from the intersection of Highway 100 to the intersection with the 1170, Highway 1170. So that's 2.5 miles, $259,419. And the last item and last project is to fix base failures and place 1 inch of asphalt on 2.7 miles of Highway 664, that's Sulphur Spring Church Road, from the bridge to the intersection with Highway 383, $237,584. That's the end of the presentation for RS, but I would like to just cover, if you don't mind, a couple of projects that may be on your mind. So first of all, when we were here last year, when we presented our projects, both of those projects are completed. That's Highway 622, Hickory Flat, Gold City Road from 100 to Reeves Road. It's almost 2 miles. You've noticed that work is completed. Highway 664, Sulphur Spring Church Road, from the bridge back the other direction to Highway 665, almost 2.5 miles. That work is completed. We have other primary route projects that we've been working on, and this is designated mostly by our central office in Frankfort, although we do get some input in that. Highway 73, Rapids Road, from the Interstate Bridge to Highway 100, 2 miles, that's complete. Highway 383, West Madison, just a block away from South Main to 1008, that's complete. Highway 73, East Cedar, from 100 to South Main. That project was recently let, and it has a completion date of November 15th, so that's East Cedar. Highway 383, that's West Madison from 1008 south to 816. That's about a mile of additional paving. That lets next month, and it will be completed by the end of this calendar year. Highway 73, Morgantown Road, from North Main all the way up to Holland Brothers Road, which is pretty close to the Logan line. That's 10 miles of repaving. That let last month, and it will be completed by the end of this calendar year. Obviously, I-65, everyone in the room is familiar with the work that's going on there from the state line to the Warren County line. That's just the next section of what we have been working on for the last 4 or 5 years, working our way south from Park City, south to the state line. And that is undoubtedly a major inconvenience. During the workday, you're going to see both lanes, both directions down to 2 lanes. At night, it's going to be down to 1 lane. So I would avoid being through there if at all possible. And of course, what Tennessee is doing just on the other side of the line makes that a very long work zone. But it will be fantastic once it's completed. And that means that every mile of I-65 from the state line to Park City will have been resurfaced just since 2018. So that's a pretty big achievement in my opinion. And then I want to mention too, probably the elephant in the room is West Cedar. And so that's just behind us from the South Main up to 1008. I know a lot of people probably just think we have forgotten about that road. That is not the case. So if this was a normal resurfacing project, 100,000 or so, we would have already knocked it out. But there's so much wrong with that roadway. It's a road that's been there within the city since it's been a city, and definitely since it's been in our maintenance for 80, 90 years. There's very little subgrade. There's very little asphalt. And to the point that over the last few cycles of paving, we've paved up and beyond the curb. I mean, it's over the gutter line, and that's not ideal for drainage. So we've been asking our leadership team in Frankfort to let us do more than just pave. We can't just remove, when there's very little asphalt there, we can't just remove without getting into rock. So what we've just been recently given approval on with the passage of the budget this last month, we've been given the approval to do what's called a full depth replacement, FDR, full depth replacement. That means when that project is let in July, so we're still a couple of months from even putting it out to bid, but it'll have a completion date before Thanksgiving. That means we're going to go in from South Main to 1008, and we're going to essentially remove the old road, okay, 4 or 5 inches. We're going to mill and stabilize the subgrade, and we're going to replace the asphalt 4 or 5 inches, and then with a surface, a driving course. So instead of a $100,000 project, it becomes an $800,000 project. And that's why this project has been delayed as much as it has. And believe me, we get calls every week about it. I know you do as well. It's not out of laziness. It's just we had to have it in the budget, and it's separate from the normal resurfacing program. So that's the good news. The good news is we have a plan for West Cedar. The maybe not so good news is when we get started, it's going to be very, very inconvenient. This roadway will be closed for weeks. I mean, local traffic will be able to access. The contractor will allow folks to go into their driveways. Even the parking behind us will be closed off for some time.
So this will take place from 31W to Highway 1008?
Yes. So the parking, the crossroads intersections, the driveways even, it will be inconvenient, but if you can get through a month or so of inconvenience, it's going to be really nice when it's done.
Fun taking kids to school.
So that's the report, and I'm open to any questions that you
Well,
might have.
first, I want to say I'm very appreciative that did make it into the budget. I know Casey and I talked a few weeks ago. We sent some letters to the Transportation Secretary, so that's good news to hear it's in there. It's really good news to know it'll be fixed. And I'm sure the people that are unhappy with the way it is will probably be unhappy with the inconvenience, but we got to do it to fix it right. So we're glad it's going to be fixed. Here's a big question I have. Who inspects or approves the completion of a road project? And in particular, the section of 622 that you're mentioning, it's just been paved. I don't know, but what, it's not worse now than it was before it was repaved.
You should drive it. And the reason, I was going to ask about the inspection too, because your inspector was asleep by the water tower most of the time that was going on. He was sitting in his truck asleep.
In other words, the road surface was smoother before it was paved. And then I do understand what the purpose of the ridges on the edge of the road are, but they are so ununiform. There's places they're that wide, there's places they're that wide, and the ridges run like that. And I mean, literally, there's places that if you're meeting traffic, you've got to drive on those ridges just to be able to meet traffic.
Well, I don't know. I'll have to drive it myself and see. So Casey and Justin, we have a construction inspector. And obviously, even if the individual that you're explaining was not doing his job, there are others like Justin who will be involved in that final inspection. If you're talking about the entire road surface, then that would be a different story. If you're talking about just the rumbles on the edge, then...
If you drive it, your vehicle will do like
You'll
this
see,
while you're driving.
the road surface is just not as smooth as it was before it was repaved.
Rapid Road is nice. I mean, what I've driven out on it, but if I worry with a semi going out at 622. I mean, that road, it's just wavy as you're going out through there. And then places where Mason was talking about, like by Johnny Arnie's driveway, there's gravel there on the edge, and then all of a sudden there's nothing. And it's a drop off like that. If somebody meets a vehicle and they were to get off the edge of the road, they're done for.
West Madison Street is basically the same way you described. I'm not certain that it wasn't smoother before the asphalt was put down.
Well, this is very disappointing to hear, so I'm sorry to get that bad news, but we will check out these situations. West Madison, we had all kinds of complaints before, and I haven't heard one since, so this is definitely a surprise to me.
They still haven't done correct work on that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm appreciative to try to get roads fixed, but I have gotten several complaints. Of course, it was an election year, so you get more complaints in an election year than in a normal year, but I haven't had anybody call and say they did a really good job on 622. Every call I've got, that road was worse than it was before it was paved. And so
All I can
it
say
needs
is
to be looked at.
let us look at it. I haven't seen it myself. This is the first I'm hearing of it, so we'll...
And of course, I'm going to still throw my normal complaint of the junction of 31 and 1008 where that curb is. I watched 2 semis in the last month take out a tire and a wheel trying to turn there.
Yeah, so I'm sorry to say it, but we don't have any intention of rebuilding that. I know you bring it up every year, Magistrate, and I'm sorry that we haven't done anything, but I've also gone out there and seen truck after truck make the right turn. So here's what happens. If we add more, guess what happens? Truck drivers will turn faster and they'll off track onto that new curb. And if we expand it another 10 feet, they'll just go around the curve at 35 miles per hour and off track even more. We see it on every intersection where we keep adding more pavement, people keep off tracking more. So there's utilities in that corner, there's a lot of concrete there's a manhole. So, I know you'll be disappointed to hear, but I don't want you to have the expectation that we had any plan to change that.
That's fine.
What about the widening project there to have the additional turn lane? That's been our top priority that we've turned in local
Yes.
government, and it just
So-
seems to fall by the wayside.
So the good news is it is in the budget.
That's
and
good news.
It was in the last budget too, but it was state funded, and state funds have been challenging the last few years. Fortunately, with the infrastructure bill through Congress, there's a lot more freedom to work with the funds that we have. That project is in the highway plan. The design funds have already been authorized, and we have a consultant on board who's doing all the survey and the design. So the intersection he's referring to is at Hunt Ford. It's on the Hunt Ford side. So the 1008, the opposite side of the road was widened when 31 was widened.
Right.
Which the magistrates mentioned, the challenge about the one southwest, southeast quadrant. But on the Hunt Ford side, you still have very narrow pavement. You don't have the ability to have turn lanes. So that has been the locals' priority, and that is moving. Albeit slowly, that project is.
Because it's by far the most backed up intersection in Franklin.
Yeah, once we'll have to buy some property, we'll have to move some utilities, but those funds are in the highway plan, and we'll be making progress. We won't be completed when we come next year, but we will hopefully at least be far enough along that we're able to buy property, move utilities, and have a plan for construction will occur.
On your West Cedar project, again, what were the dates again that it will probably be going on?
Yeah, we'll open bids in July. So best case, the contractor will start around Labor Day. Usually it takes a month to 6 weeks to get the contract in place, to get the contractor mobilized. There'll be a big social media campaign for all the citizens. Hopefully, if the newspaper's here, they can start to get that word out. So September and October really is the goal of when that project will be under construction.
End of goal, you say, until about the end of November?
November
Yeah.
15th is typically the completion date.
Is that,
You get to a point where you can't pay
Right.
because it's too cold.
Yeah.
the Highway 100 widening project is in the highway plan?
100 to the east?
East.
Yes.
And is there an anticipated start date on any of that?
So a reminder for everyone in the room, that's from Hickory Flats to just the other side of the Allen County line. There was some folks that were not happy about how it was going off track and, going behind some farms and such, but that is back in the plan. The design is pretty well completed. It's been done for 4 or 5 years. It's essentially on a shelf, and we'll have to dust up the plans and make sure, everything's the way it needs to be before we start buying property. But we should be able to move into the right-of-way phase by the end of the year, at least next year for sure.
Okay.
That's where we're actually out there with appraisers, appraising property, buying property from property owners, and then construction. I'll have to look to see, but construction is fiscal year 26.
Okay.
So we're still a few years from construction, but right-of-way and utilities is this year and 23 and 25.
Okay.
Other questions? Thank you. Well, if you don't mind, when we leave here, we're just going to go ahead and leave unless you need us to stay.
You're welcome. You're welcome to stay, but you're free to leave.
After we get a donut, it sounds like it's time for us to go look at some projects. And I just ask that you don't have to vote on this, certainly it's up to you, but if it could at least be acknowledged in the minutes that we made our presentation today.
Just do an acknowledgement.
Yeah, all right. The counselor suggested that we just have a motion and a second to acknowledge receipt of the fiscal year 22-23 rural secondary road program.
So move.
Motion by Nate. Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
All right, next would be to approve second reading and passage of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.239, amendment number 9. This is just amending in additional revenues coming in.
So moved.
Got a motion by Marty.
Second.
Second by Nate. Any question or discussion? And we'll do a roll call.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. And then next, gentlemen, we would need a motion to approve first reading of fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.241. This would be amendment number 10. This is also amending in additional revenue. I think this one's primarily from Class D revenue.
So move.
Motion by Nate.
Second.
Second by Scott. Any other question or discussion? Pam, we'll do a roll call.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review of the lease agreement with Dueling Grounds Distillery, we would need a motion and a second to approve that lease agreement. We also have with us Ms. Amy Ellis, the tourism director. This is basically a tourism initiative where the Dueling Grounds Distillery would like to do like testings on that site out there. Of course, tourism takes care of all of that, but it's our building, and so the lease would have to be with us. There's really no obligation on our end other than sign a lease agreement and receive $200 a month. And then it would just be assessed after the first year to see if it was even a worthwhile project on behalf of the distillery. Does that pretty much sum it up? Do you want to share anything about it?
With this action, Simpson County Tourism will continue to oversee the Sanford Duncan Inn. This lease will allow the distillery to come in and have a presence in that. What the plans are, and this also has to go to the Kentucky Heritage Council because of the T grant that we have with them to approve, that we can have that presence. This will not be in the Sanford Duncan Inn, it will be in the Welcome Center behind the inn. And what it will do is give that distillery a presence there so that when visitors come, we can share the story of the dueling that was fought there and the bourbon that is named for that site. So it kind of gives us that strong connection that we need with Sanford Duncan Inn to attract our visitors. And then with the lease, there can be tastings. It was just approved by the state government this last session. So there'll be tastings there, and it won't be every day. We're open now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. The distillery is willing to have an employee there 2 days a week, which is great for us, and then tourism we'll have somebody there all 4 days. So we will still oversee the project. Do I have any questions?
Has he started storing barrels in the building behind it yet?
No,
Okay.
there's not enough room. There's not enough room. That won't happen.
Oh, that one, okay. Because he talked about doing that, right?
We wanted to build a building back there, but that didn't happen. So
Okay.
not yet, maybe in the future. We don't own the barn. The county does not own the barn. The property owners behind that still own that barn, so that's what we had talked about. So,
Okay.
thank you.
But I'm good with the idea, gentlemen. We just need a motion and a second if you're inclined to approve this lease and authorize the judge to sign the lease.
So
Whoa.
Got a motion by Marty, a second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next item, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to look at this, would be to approve the Annex Building Fascia project. This is a grant project. I'll let Bill talk to it a little bit. It's $7,149, but I believe the 740, I can't see very well. Can't see or hear. Must be getting old, Bill. But I believe this is a 50% grant. We would get 50% of this money back, and obviously we're not wanting to tie a lot of money into this building, but if you're gonna get half this money, probably a good idea.
And I don't know if the rest of you got any, had people say something to you about it, but I have.
Yeah, they think it looks
Yeah,
horrible.
several
Yeah.
times, yeah.
Well, you all got the information on the portal, and as I don't want to go over all that except to say that when we had it inspected, there was talk about that it might be copper, and it's not copper. And all that discoloring is not rust. There is some rust on a couple streaks down by the clock, but most of that is where the primer's coming through. So the original primer was a really good primer, but the outside color had come off. So the other thing that I asked him to put in his proposal was to get down all the stuff that didn't mount to anything. I think there are some wires put up on both sides that actually held Christmas decorations. The only thing I could figure out, they didn't go anywhere, but it looked like you might be able to fasten stuff to it. So he's going to take all that down. He's going to straighten the metal up that's bent. I know the gutter on the front is copper, because we had to hook a new piece of copper to it to drain the water off of there a few years ago. So, but other than that, I went to the Renaissance board and met with them. They were very gracious and decided to help us with that. And the other people that's going to be involved is the HPC, the Historic Preservation Committee, and they're going to pick the color, which is fine with me. They know more about that. So when this passes, if it passes, I'll be contacting them to have the person that does that, they'll come and look at it, and I'm hoping Amy and Tammy and this person from the HPC, that we can all meet and come up with a color that would be appropriate for the front of the building. I'm very pleased with the proposal. It looks like he's going to prime it, and he's going to put 2 coats of finish on there. He's going to sand it, just kind of like what he did at the Goodnight House. This is the same contractor that did the Goodnight House, and it's done courthouse, it's done the jail. So he seems to be, does really good work, and he gives us awful good prices.
When are they supposed to be starting, and what's the time frame for this project?
Well, as soon as, if it gets approved, I'll be contacting him today. And then, and if you notice in his proposal, he said that he would like to do it on weekends and afternoon, but my thing is, if you wait for a good weather on the weekend, it may take 2 months to get it done, and I'm gonna tell him if he's gonna provide protection for entry into the building with scaffolding, which, you know, they did at the Justice Center when they did all that down there. They can put up a scaffolding and put boards on it, protect the people going in and out. Then I'm for him just going ahead and getting it done. Knocking it out.
You can do it while they got the road closed, there won't be anybody parked out there.
There we go. Work it all together.
Amy, has there been any mention of what color it might be?
Actually, Bill called me and I came over and we looked at it, and that marble, we had talked about probably a charcoal color.
Okay.
So that it would look nice with that marble, but that would be like to HPC.
There was a lot of blue in that marble, more than you realize. When you get up close, there's a lot of blue, and we decided we didn't want blue.
Right.
So it's gonna be like a light gray. We're wanting to stay in the gray family.
Okay.
And then maybe a charcoal gray would look nice too. So
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that up to the HPC. I'm kinda like Scott. Pam has to lay out my clothes the right color and everything, so I'm not gonna be choosing the paint for the front of the building. I know it's not gonna be pink, I can tell you that. It won't be pink.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion by Marty, and a second by Nate to go ahead and work on this annex building fascia project. Is there anything that needs to be signed along with this?
Now, he never has any, he doesn't send me proposals that need signature. I've always just let him know when he's done it and get a PO.
Or through the grant process, do we need any, let's just
I'll
make
tell
the
you what,
motion
I'll
to.
include in my motion, authorize you to sign any necessary documents
Okay.
that need to be signed.
Well, I think that Mason has already, we already had the form to the HPC, so he's already filled that out, or they filled it out and sent it to Mason. Mason signed it and sent it back,
Well,
so.
if it's in that motion, there needs to be something else signed. He's
Yeah.
authorized.
Okay.
All right, are you good with that, Nate, on your
Yes.
second?
Yes,
Any
sir.
other question or discussion? All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed?
Thank
That
you, Bill.
motion
Thank
carries.
you.
Thank you, Bill. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to look at some information our emergency management director provided us, is to approve the names of 2 streets at the community park, one being Terry Joyner Drive, the other being Frank Gooch Senior Drive.
I couldn't read those names the way it was on this map. I didn't.
Yeah, it's tough to read.
Yeah.
And we've already got Larry Randolph and Charlie McCutcheon Drive.
And it looks like we've got one road out there that's still looking for a name. But
Where's
if
it
we're,
at?
if we're
Oh, never
inclined
mind.
to make these names here, we just need a motion and a second to approve the names of these 2 roads in the community park.
So moved.
Second, Mason.
Motion by Nate, second by Myron. Any question or discussion?
Nate, was they wanting us to try to name this road, or they're going to name it and send it back to us?
Well, in our meeting, they had only brought it up that it was another road on the backside that needs to be named, and that's all they said in the
Okay.
meetings.
Okay.
All right, all in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve those transfers.
So,
That was Marty and Myron.
yes.
I knew one come from that side, but I didn't know which one of you it was.
It was Myron.
Okay. Any other, we got a motion and a second. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we need a motion and a second to approve the bills and claims as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Nate, Second. Second by Scott. Any question or discussion about any of the claims? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we'll move into reports. I have several things to report. Just a reminder for anyone who has a report or anything to share, we're welcome to share it. We can share it and discuss it. We just can't vote on anything that we talk about because it's not actually listed on the agenda.
Oh, because it's a special call.
Call meeting.
Yeah.
So I do have quite a bit of information to share with all of you, but none of it really requires action. There'll be one item that might require action in a future meeting. I just want y'all to have the information. But one is this Thursday and Friday, we have Mr. Colin Glover from the Critical Infrastructure Security Agency, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security, is coming through to conduct an assessment of our cyber infrastructure for Simpson County. I guess cyber crime, cyber attacks have all become a pretty big thing. And much my understanding, Bob, Adam, Bill, y'all can fill us in on this, but the Department of Homeland Security offers this service at no cost to us. They will come in, make an assessment of all of our facilities, all of our cyber infrastructure, and then give us that assessment and let us do with it, I guess, what we please. But just so that department heads know, you may have someone from Homeland Security coming into your facility on Thursday, possibly even Friday. So just letting everyone be aware of that. See, I got a whole pile of stuff here. One thing I do want to do is congratulate all of our graduates. Wish them the best. It's an exciting time in your life. I can barely remember being 18, but best I remember, it was pretty exciting, Sam.
It was that.
Until I realized that we actually had to earn a living and
go to work.
provide for yourself.
Right.
And then it wasn't hardly as exciting anymore.
But for a little while there.
But for a little while, it was fun.
Yeah.
Then you lose your hearing. Yeah, you get old, you lose your sight, you lose your hearing. Just, yeah. One thing, gentlemen, and it's on the portal, just so you're aware of, there will be an Independence Day parade at 10 a.m. on that Monday, July 4th. We've been asked to participate in it, so if y'all would be inclined to participate, that'd be great. Let the community know that we are having the parade. Another thing, it's on the portal here for you to look at, and this will be something that we may get on the portal for an actual action in the next meeting, would be if we would be inclined to help be a sponsor to the Summer Vibes Music Festival. They've done it last year. It was, from all accounts, it was a successful event. I think there's a lot of people that are anticipating it. I think, I don't know, but I can confirm this before our next meeting. I think the city is willing to help be a sponsor to and I don't know at what level they're willing to sponsor, but I mean, I think it's a good idea if we're inclined to do it. If y'all are nodding your head, yes, we'll get it on the agenda to talk about.
I think it is.
Okay, we'll have that on our agenda for the next meeting. There's a few other things that I've put on the portal that's just for information purposes only, so be sure to look. There'll be some things that'll just say information only. Look at those. And then here is the project. There's a project happening out on Grace Road where it's going to be residential and business development. And the map you're looking at shows, if you're holding the map where the little, hold the map where it's like this in front of you.
Okay.
Okay, so you see to the left, you see the real widened section out at 100 for turning lanes and such. And then you can see the proposed widening of Grace Road back to that second 90-degree turn. Mm-hmm. So what we've got to make a determination is, I mean, the developer is willing to widen this section of road and cover, pay for all of that and get it up to whatever specs is required. The question would be if we want to continue to maintain that as a county road after it's widened, or do we want to annex it to the city? The property owner has already requested the city annex his property where the project is going, but we would have to request the annexation of that section of the road. And then you get into a situation sort of like Steel Road where, you know, the city road from 31W back to a point, then it becomes a county road. And so that's just a question for us to think about. I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with it remaining a county road and letting the guy widen it, but I don't necessarily have a problem with the city having it if they want to take care of it after it's done.
If we gave the city the option, would they take it though?
They would take it if
Oh,
we,
they would?
if we,
Oh.
if we requested the annexation, they would take it.
Oh, okay.
That road is going to be in that annexation, correct?
Well, no, the road,
Or-
the city, the property owner can only request to have annexed what he owns. He doesn't own the road.
Okay.
The county would have to request that the city annex the actual road. Or we continue to maintain it in its widened form after it's widened.
Well, common sense tell you, it'd be easier to let them do it than us do it. You know,
So,
at some point, the city, I don't know how much more they're gonna keep annexing until they try to annex everything in the county. I mean, it's,
yeah,
They won't annex everything because that means they have to provide services.
yeah, yeah. They'll run out when the sewer runs out. All right, and then here's just a few things I want to hand you guys, just so familiar with it, in case anyone asks. These are, I just want you guys to have copies of the letters. Y'all requested that we send a letter for the,
That's yours, ain't it?
deer hunting, so that's the letter that was sent. And then this other letter is a letter that was requested for the, here's you a copy of that one.
Thank you.
So those are just information purposes only. Neither one of those will require any action, just information for you guys to have. And that ends my report time. Myron, you have anything?
No.
Scott?
No, next meeting, I'll get you.
Nate?
Yes, we had a Boys and Girls Club board meeting last week, and we just briefly discussed the development on Glasgow and Bowling Green wishing to merge with us. That's going to go into more detail because this committee is going to be formed and then talk about that in general. But at this point, they all want to merge with us. CEO Jeff Goodnight will be starting with the BGCA on June the 6th. His farewell and appreciation date at the club will be May the 31st from 12 to 1. So anyone who wants to come down and then to see him off, you know, that's going to be his last day there. And it's going to be down at the club from 12 to 1 down there. And with the Parks and Rec, we have a meeting tonight, so, you know, there's a few things on the agenda for us to talk about on there. And that concludes my report.
All right. Marty?
if anybody hadn't seen it, we worked, when I say we, us at the farm worked with tourism, and we donated the use of the barn on our farm that you can see from I-65. They paid a gentleman to come out and paint it on there, and in about 3 weeks, we'll have the weed harvested behind the barn, so you won't have to wait out and waste high weed. If anybody wants to come out and take a selfie with it or whatever, they're welcome to do that. I had the idea, we had just had that sitting there, and called Amy, and she liked the idea and took it to tourism. And I think Myron said he was going to try to work on some lights to hang from the top of it so you can see it at night too. It just says, come see or visit Franklin, Kentucky, but you can see it from the interstate real well. And also had a couple issues with people throwing things out on the side of the road in the last couple of weeks, and I wanted to thank Bobby and guys at the road department. There was 34 tire, and why they do this, well, I guess $4 a tire, whatever they charge is why they did it. on that, but they threw out a truckload of tires, spent all the effort of loading them up, then take them out on Johns Loop Road and take a chance on getting caught doing it and throw them out on the side of the road. But Bobby and the guys wasn't doing that. And then
I asked the sheriff if he would address some of that, and what could be the penalties for that if they get caught. So
Right.
He's gonna explain
Okay.
some of that to us.
All right, well, I was just gonna say there was also a local business that was kind of insinuated that they had, some materials came from their business and it didn't from everything I can gather, but, if you see some people doing that, I just ask, you call one of us, call the sheriff's department, do something, because it's not,
It's not right.
take up the time of the guys at the road department to go clean that mess up. And, other than that, I don't really have anything.
Counselor? Nope. Sheriff, do you mind to address that a little bit? What Marty's talking about, these tires have been dumped on the side of the road, then I think it was 8 mattresses dumped on the side of the road. And
Yeah, tires and mattresses, just so the public knows, nobody in Simpson County or anywhere has any respect for people that want to drive around and just throw stuff out. It is an arrestable offense. You'll be arrested if you're caught doing it. If you observe such an act, call your magistrate later, but your first call should be to our dispatch so we can get a deputy to the scene if you're actually seeing it take place, so that we can try to catch the people. We do look for evidence at scenes like that. Sometimes you come across things that will lead to being able to find out who did it. I never ask the public to get directly involved, but if it's safe as you drive by to see what the tag on the car is, if from a distance you can snap a couple of pictures with your phone, all those things help us be able to catch the person that did it. You can be arrested for it. It's criminal littering. It's a Class A misdemeanor. You can also be held to pay the cost for the cleanup, which can be substantial. And we have a very good district court when it comes to backing up on people having to pay for things that cost the citizens. So Bobby and them, it's not a freebie for Bobby and them to go out. It costs the county every time Bobby has to call somebody to go do something, just like it costs the county every time a deputy goes somewhere. There's an expense.
And the mattress thing, just so you know, we had a private citizen message me yesterday afternoon and said he'd be glad to go pick them up. He went and loaded them on a trailer, and I believe they transferred them over to a county trailer this morning. They transferred, yeah, the county.
County trailer knows, when I came up here, my guy was going to pick it up, and something happened, I don't know about it.
Yeah, well, yeah. They've got them, but they're being disposed of. But the point being, it's ridiculous to take your waste and your rubbish and just toss it on the side of the road anywhere.
Generally, what happens in every case is different, but why would mattresses be there that might have a business's name on it? Generally, a business does the right thing. They pay somebody to come get stuff, and they are taking it that person is going to do the right thing with it. That person is trying to save themselves money by not paying the third party for the delivery, so they pull off in some county and dump it. None of that's right, and they should be accountable, and nobody likes it, and they need to be accountable. So
I appreciate you, Sheriff.
Thanks, Sheriff.
The jailer's not here, but is there any report from the jail?
Just our numbers.
All right.
This morning, 315 in jail, 218 of those are state, 97 are county. Last week, we were up to 107 county, so this is something we need to continue to watch as we go through the year. I'm hoping that trials start to take place, we start to move people, but we're at the mercy of the court right now.
All right, very good. Bobby, anything, road department?
I did register the,
Or you could grab Pam's microphone right there if you want.
just FYI, I did register the county for the reverse salt auction this week. So there's no action to be taken, but eventually there will be. But I just wanted you to be aware. I think you've already probably received the email without that. So other than that, guys are mowing and short of help. And it's just what it is. So.
All right, thank you very much. Carter, anything planning and zoning? Bill, anything else for maintenance? Chief, anything in the fire department? Bob, anything in emergency management? The executive session request has been pulled, so we don't need that. All I need now is a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
You got Nate made the motion. Scott seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.